The following video that I am replying to is done by some guy who I believe really doesn't know anything about feminism. That's the impression that I am getting from him. He's mostly uneducated, and while he has good intentions, it is still, however, the oldest con in history to go and take someone with good intentions and then just abuse the hell out of them to your own end. So as a result, I am going to try to go easy on this kid.
Send your death threats my way. This is actually kind of a test. I've seen that whenever a woman talks about feminism on the internet, they get slandered really bad.
You think being a feminist is bad? Try being an MRA. No, seriously, if you go and say, hey, I support men's rights, people think that you are essentially Satan because you support men's rights? How dare you? What, do you hate women or something?
So let's see what happens when a male talks about it.
Same thing as when a woman does it. No, seriously, Steve chives. People really do not go and care too much for him in the anti-feminist group. And you gotta feel sorry for the guy because I've listened to an interview that had Steve Chives and his wife talking, and it's gotta be Stockholm, is all I can say, because his wife was like, oh yeah, if you like Angel from Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and here it is, he's a male character, yeah, that's clearly sexism right there, even though you really don't care anything about the person's gender. I'm not kidding, look up the video, and those were the words that came out of her mouth. And so, believe me, being a male does not get you a free pass. In fact, yes, while I will agree that most people who put up feminist videos are women, that's not always the case. And because it's not always the case, that's why I go and see critics of feminism usually tearing into men just as well as they do women.
Let's see if the outcome is any different. Stop using the term feminism. It was a good idea to begin with. Now it's pointless and stupid, and all it's doing is spurring hate.
I agree. At one time, feminism simply meant equality between the sexes. Nowadays, it has more to do with female entitlement, female privilege, and of course, male hatred. Let me put it like this. I do not care what the dictionary definition says, okay? That is none of my business. I care about what the people of the actual organization are doing, okay? And so far from what I've seen from feminists, they're completely insane. No, seriously, global warming is sexist. Poverty is sexist. Air conditioners are sexist. And if you think I'm making any of this stuff up, yeah, Google it. And then weep. Because this is not outliers, this is the norm.
Let's break what I just said down. It was a good idea to begin with. True, it was. In a society pretty much completely dominated by men, women started to fight back. They created a movement dictating equal rights for everyone.
Don't quote me on this, but I believe the main benefactors of feminism at the time was middle-class women. In fact, I am pretty damn sure that the benefactors of feminism today are women who are middle to upper class. So, poor people, they really don't care. Or at the very least, I have yet to hear a feminist talk about anything affecting poor women. And here's the funny thing. What's good for goose is good for gander. So, what that means is, if the feminists are going to say, well, women need this, that, and everything else, then by logic, men must need the exact same thing. Because are men not human beings just like women? And if so, then please explain to me why it is that women get special treatment and men don't. If men and women are really equal, women won't be needing any special treatment at all. In short, what I'm getting at, stuff like affirmative action, yeah, we need to get rid of it. Because, hey, men and women are equal. Why do we need some kind of quota? No, seriously, what good does having a quota do? I do not care about what sex organs the person may or may not have. I care about their ability to do the job they're supposed to be doing. If they can do that, that's going to go and have a lot more importance to me than anything else.
Slowly but surely, they made their way back up, to some extent. Now it's meaningless. True, it is. I said before that women created the term feminism to defend equal rights for themselves.
And, at the time, it was understandable, because women did have fewer rights than men in given areas. However, nowadays, it's tipping over the other way. Nowadays, women have got it made. They're a bunch of spoiled princesses who actually believe that being treated like a normal person is discrimination. For example, take a look at the He for She campaign that basically says that men should be putting women ahead of their own self, which is sexist no matter how you go and cut it, because if a woman is such a strong and independent creature, why would she need a man to protect her? Also, take a look at Yes Means Yes, where the guy has to get consent for every damn thing he does. And he has to get continuing ongoing consent for every damn thing he does, because the woman may, change her mind at any given moment. Can you imagine that? And being too timid to go and say, I don't want to do this anymore, or I'm not into that. So apparently the message I'm getting from this is women can't do it, so that's why men need to continually ask for confirmation throughout every little thing. And not only that there, but if the guy was to go and try something spontaneous, oh no, he's a rapist! How dare he touch a woman without her permission when they're in the middle of, having a good time?
But fast forward to modern society where feminism is pretty much commonplace. Ask yourself, why do we still tolerate sexism? Better yet, why do we still tolerate sexists?
Well, to answer your question, it's because the feminists support it. No, think about it. In order for the entire feminist narrative to work, the feminist narrative is based on the belief that women are oppressed and men are the oppressors. This entire thing was basically, no, seriously, listen to feminist talk, and it's like they went and took something from Karl Marx and then just scratched out working class and whatever else, and then just substituted it with man and woman. In fact, if you ever went and took a feminist course in your life, you would know that communism is a pretty indoctrinated thing within that group. So, yeah, communism and all this other stuff is alive and well in feminism. In fact, the feminism was pretty much built up on top of it. If you don't believe me, do your own research and prove me wrong. This is some pretty messed up stuff because, think about it. How can you sit and say, oh, you're part of this group, that means you're oppressing me because I'm a part of this group? That doesn't even make any sense. This is the entire idea that Hitler had with the Jews. The Jews killed Jesus, therefore it's okay to kill the Jews because modern day Jews are paying for what their ancestors did. I mean, no matter where you come from, that does not make any sense. How in the world can you be responsible for an action or a deed that you yourself have not participated or acted in? This not only goes and applies to sexism, but also applies to racism as well. Every white person is essentially a racist, and they must prove themselves otherwise. They must prove a negative. And yet, if I went and said that every black person is a born and bred criminal, and that it's up to them to prove that they are a decent human being who can integrate into society, I would be attacked for it on the 6 o'clock news. And it's kind of telling that, yeah, these racist and sexist people talk about so much, when they actually find one, they go and broadcast it as much as they can. And I'm like, well, okay, the fact it's appearing on the news kind of tells you something. Because if this was so damn common, it wouldn't be on the news. No, think about it. Plane crashes versus car crashes. If planes were falling out of the sky every single day, they'd quit reporting on it because it became so common. But where it doesn't happen, that's why they report on it, because plane crashes are a lot more rare than car crashes, but because there's more reporting, people think that plane crashes are going to be more common, and they're not.
All it's doing is spurring hate. True. It is. A prime example of this is the Star Wars Rogue One trailer. Everyone's getting furious at the fact that a woman's playing the lead part. It's a fucking piece of science fiction. What's your problem? But the fact is that most people aren't commenting about the woman, they're commenting about the feminists. So let me get this straight. You're mad about a woman getting cast as a lead role in a fictional movie, but you're not getting mad at women, you're getting mad at the people who fight for equal rights. Morons.
I don't really know anything of it, so I'm not a Star Wars fan, okay? Then again, I can't remember the scenario, but I remember hearing something similar about people getting angry that a character was black. Don't really remember what it was about, but look it up if you want to know. Again, it all depends upon circumstance. If the woman got that position she's in simply because she's a woman, then I'd be pretty pissed off too. Keep in mind, under affirmative action, because you've got quotas and everything else to worry about, you do not have to be the best candidate for the job, okay? All you gotta do is find a company that hasn't met its gender quota yet and apply there. And you're basically guaranteed to get it because you're a woman. And you can go and sit down and say whatever you want about that comment, but this stuff is true. What do you think affirmative action means? It means, here it is, we need X amount of people and we need to put them in place so we don't look racist or sexist. And I'm just sitting here like, that don't even make any sense. Because what good does diversity do if the people you're hiring, yeah, let's say you go and meet those gender and race quotas. Alright, so what? Are these people any good? Are they going to be doing what they should be doing for the job? Probably not. Because, think about it, if they were white or they were male, would they still have the same position that they currently hold now? And when you ask that question, well, if the answer is no, then please tell me how this is not discrimination.
And as soon as anyone makes a video about feminism, regardless of how calm they are, and regardless of how right they are, they always get told to kill themselves or get cancer.
Ever been to a feminist circle? Go to some Reddit subgroup that's all about feminism, and go and ask questions. I'm not saying be rude, I'm just saying just be polite, ask some questions, go and try to find more out about it, and do not be surprised when you actually get banned. Because the last thing feminists want is people asking questions. This is something I've heard about enough times, and if they don't ban you, they're just going to say that you're a troll who's downvoting everything. No, I've seen this in action, and the person who was writing back says, look, just because I disagree with the article doesn't mean I'm downvoting everything, and just because I disagree doesn't mean I'm a troll. It just means I disagree and that's it.
So let me get this straight. You're telling a person to die for stating their own opinion on a movement that was created based on opinion. Moron.
Well, here's the thing about it. Feminism is a cult, okay? They really hold to the belief that men are oppressors and all women are being oppressed, and this not only means current day, this means throughout all history. Now, if you listen to Girl Writes What, or Feminism LOL, or Sorghum the Cod, or, whoever else who goes and talks about this more than I do, you will go and find out that, yeah, that's not really true. Throughout history, women kind of had it made. And the entire point that I'm trying to get at is, no, seriously, back in the past, if you had a choice between being born a man or a woman, you would be better off being born as a woman. Because I've actually heard a story like the name woman basically means a man with a womb. Whereas man didn't mean anything. It meant nothing, so they just went and dropped the entire WO off of it, and it was man. And what happened is, the word for a girl meant a girl of any age. Whether a young kid or a fully grown woman. You can say, well, that's sexist, but boy meant slave. So, stop and think for a moment. Here it is, we got a society where little kids grow up to be fully actualized kids, and men grow up to be nothing, and I don't think either side's getting a very good deal of it, personally. And that's kind of the entire point. Men don't have it better than women. They got their own hang-ups, their own problems, and their own issues to work out. In fact, there was actually this lesbian who, for a certain amount of time, went and dressed and acted like a man. Okay? You wouldn't know that she was a man because she acted the part so well. And what happened is she went and found out that, yeah, guess what? The stuff she was told about men, not true. Case in point, strip clubs. She went and found out that when a man goes to a strip club, it's something biological, something he has to do. And I'm not supporting strip clubs at all. I've never been to one and never cared to. But the point is, but as people have pointed out before, when you sit and think about it, strip club is nothing more than a temple to worship the female form. No, think about this. As one comedian said, now imagine paying to go to a strip club. Alright? Here it is, you go and pay money to watch a stripper dance, and you could use the same amount of money and hire a hooker. That would be like going and paying money to watch someone else eat a meal, but you're not allowed to eat the meal like they were doing. But if you went and paid a little extra, you could go and have another person join in and watch them eat the meal. Seriously, this doesn't make any sense. Likewise, in places where people are starving, the idea of them buying pictures of food and looking at that doesn't make any sense either. So, for men, just the entire being attracted to the female form, it is, of course, biological. And there are exceptions, such as the gays, of course, but the point is, it's something that's really deeply ingrained into men, and it's just something about our gender, just the way that we're not the same, is what I'm saying. Believe it or not, we are not the same. We are a dimorphic species. We differ. We have different specializations. That doesn't mean one's better than the other. Being different means only three things. Either it's good, it's bad, or it don't matter. Neutral, in other words.
And I won't lie, I didn't come up with the idea for this video on my own. As you may or may not already know, Maisie Williams is a Game of Thrones actress who was interviewed earlier in the year where she says that people should stop using the term feminist. She probably got a crap ton of hate for it, but there's a certain moral that I live by. Every person who's ever been right has got hate just because they're right.
While other people, such as certain German-speaking dictators who have committed mass genocide, go and have ideas and they're hated because they're fucking wrong!
She said something that I think I'll remember for a very long time. You're either a normal person or you're a sexist.
Tell me, are you against murder? Are you against adultery? Are you against lying? Well, if you answered yes to any of these questions, then congratulations, you're a Christian. Don't go and argue with me. You are a Christian because I say you are. You do not define yourself, I define you. Put in fewer words, if you have a problem with what I just said, congratulations. You now know why I have a problem with the entire, you're either this or you're bad. You're faulty, you're messed up. No, I'm not. I'm not a feminist, but I still believe in treating men and women like they're human beings. I don't need feminism for that because feminism is, frankly, it's going for equality for women. Sure. But it's not so much as equality as it is supremacy. Go and take a look at most of the stuff that feminists come up with and imagine a man saying the exact same thing. It would never work.
And that is why I'm making this video. To say that the term feminism should be removed from society. And to be feminist is to be a normal human being.
Important note. If being a feminist was normal, that does not mean it would be right. Let me elaborate. In Saudi Arabia, it is normal for a woman to be submissive to her husband. Because if she goes and speaks out or acts out, he can go and hit her, beat her, rape her, do whatever, and it's considered okay by their messed up religion. Just because something is normal does not mean it is right. And just because something is right does not mean that it's normal. Think about it. What did Jesus, Gandhi, Martin Luther King, and others get killed for? Oh yeah, it was them basically saying, hey, let's be nice to one another. Yeah, you say that crap and the world will kill you.
We shouldn't be treating feminism as something you can get away with not believing in. Believing in the equality of all genders shouldn't be an optional tick box on the entry form of basic humanity.
Do you know what egalitarianism is? It basically means you really do not give a shit about the person's race, gender, ethnicity, religion, or any of that other crap. It just means you support both sides. You support men and you support women. You support whites, you support blacks. You support the religious and you support the atheist. That's all it means. You're sort of like an ombudsman, okay? You're a mediator, in other words. You want to help both sides. There is no quote-unquote good or bad side. This is why I go with egalitarianism. If you go and tell a feminist that you're in egalitarianism, they will go and treat you like you just went and said you were going to rape them. I'm not kidding. They go and treat you horribly when they hear that you actually want to treat both sides as human beings. Also, along the same lines, try looking up humanitarian.
If you don't believe in the equality of all genders, you don't deserve even the lowest amount of respect.
Then why are you a feminist? By your own definition, if a feminist is someone that respects both genders. This is nice in theory, but that's not the reality of it. And do not even bother showing me the dictionary definition. I really don't care. I don't care about words in some book. I care about the actions of the people that are in said group. Action speaks louder than words. And what I am seeing the feminists do usually drowns out any argument they can make.
Because I don't understand why or how you could respect someone who hates your gender and doesn't believe that you should receive the same chances as them.
Most of their action is basically a spoiled child. That's all that feminism has become. It's a group for spoiled women to get together to try and create more spoiled women who just don't have it good enough. Name me one right a woman has that a man don't. I can name several rights that a man doesn't have but a woman does. How about this? The right to go and keep his kids. Or how about this? The right to half of what a woman has. Or not only that there, but what about... No, stop and think about this for a moment. You go and hear about how in the Muslim religion, they go and mutilate the genitals of their female offspring, right? Well, we do it to our male offspring over here, and that's just business as usual. So how is that right then?
The fact that women even had to create a separate movement to be noticed and to fight for equality shows just how bad times were back then. I understand why the term feminism was created, but in modern society, a time where equality for all genders should be addressed as normal, we shouldn't let people get away with believing otherwise.
Amen. That's why I am not a feminist. I am not a feminist because I am uneducated. I am not a feminist because I am educated about it. And here's the thing of it. Go and look up some of these feminist quotes. Andrea Dworkin, holy shit. Was this a complete basket case or what? She went and said something along the lines of, I want to see a man beaten to a bloody pulp with a high heel shoved in his mouth like an apple in the mouth of a pig. Then there was another feminist who went and said, basically, the more power she got, that just meant she had more ability to go and hurt men. This was her entire reason to exist, was to go and hurt men. She actually just came out right and said it, and they're supposed to be the people that we're looking up to. And here's the funny thing about feminist quotes. I did a video on this already, and the entire idea is you take what these feminists are saying, take out the word man, replace it with black, and take the word woman and replace it with white, and then reread it. that's the most racist piece of shit I ever heard! Who wrote this? Adolf Hitler?
If you're a feminist, you're a human being. If you're not, you're part of the problem.
Correct. Feminists are indeed human. Just as was Hitler, Mussolini, Stalin, and Castro. Also, no. Just because you are not a feminist does not mean you are part of a problem. This is like saying, well, Christians are people, and if you're not a Christian, then you're part of the problem. Okay, no matter how you look at it, there are going to be a number of people who have a problem with that. Not just the atheists, but people from different religions as well. So if you're going to sit and say, well, I'm not a part of this group, and therefore because I'm not a part of it, there is something wrong with you, this is more a reflection of your own issues that you need to work out. You need to learn to separate yourself from the group. There is no separation between you and feminism, and there should be. Feminism should not be a cult, okay? It should be a following to actually help not just women, but men as well. This is feminism's current problem. They say, well, we're here to help men, but in practice, take a look at male spreading, male slamming, mansplaining. Any problem, just attach man to it. Can you imagine what would happen if I went ahead and said, I made up a term, anything that bothered me, I just put black in front of it? No, stop and think. Imagine if a black person came up to me and started saying something and I said, oh, you're just black-splaining. I'd be called a fucking racist! This, again, is why I am not a feminist. And why you, if you believe in equality between the sexes and not just one gender, shouldn't be a feminist either. Seriously, to say that I am a feminist and I support equality with feminism's current incarnation is like saying, hey, I'm a member of the KKK and I support equality for blacks. Technically that would be true, alright, because you believe they all should hang equally.
And I remember back when I Hate Everything said that, and he had to apologise for it. He didn't have to apologise. He was completely right. If you aren't a feminist, you're part of the problem.
And, once again, this is why I am not a feminist. Because most feminists are part of the problem. And as every feminist says, educate yourself.
You want to be respected by everyone? Believe in equality for everyone. If you don't deserve it.
I do. And that's why, despite not being an MRA, I do, however, support the MRA. And the reason for this is because, well, guess what? Men are people too. And if you support human rights, then you must support the MRA as well. All the MRA want is to be treated like human beings and not as some kind of cash dispensing unit that is meant to be taken advantage of and disposed at a moment's notice.
And when you put labels on things, it only causes arguments.
Aren't you being a bit problematic now? Women go and put labels on everything. Usually that label is sexist. Again, everything is sexist. It doesn't matter what it is, it's sexist because feminists say so.
If we treat feminism as a separate thing, people are going to be afraid to openly say, oh, I'm a feminist.
Please elaborate. What do you mean by treating feminism as a separate thing? A separate thing from what? Again, feminism is already a cult. They do not care about actually doing anything. They care about getting people to call themselves feminists. If you're the kind of person who believes that all women should be covered up and essentially wearing burqas because only the worthy should be allowed to see your epidermis, then that's okay as long as you call yourself a feminist. Also, if you believe that you should go and strip completely naked and walk down the streets, and if anyone catcalls you, then that person's oppressing you, then that's okay too, as long as you call yourself a feminist. Basically, you can do whatever the hell you want as long as you call yourself a feminist. The only issue, of course, is if you're male. then in that case, what a woman does or does not do is none of your business, so shut your damn mouth because you're part of the patriarchy and you don't have a right to talk.
And I'm not saying that you have to be all social justice warrior about it. Like, you don't have to scream from the rooftops, "Hey! I'm a feminist!" To be a feminist, all you have to do is believe that all genders are equal and that they should receive equal opportunities in life. It's very fucking simple.
Well, that's strange. Why aren't you an MRA then? After all, an MRA believes not only in men's rights, but also in women's rights as well. The only difference is that with feminists, they want women to go and have rights. The MRA, on the other hand, they want women to have rights plus responsibility for those rights. Are you starting to see the problem of why they're hated now? Can you imagine that? A guy gets completely shit-faced at a party, goes and does something stupid, and it's his fault. A woman gets completely shit-faced at a party, does something stupid, and it's the fault of whoever took advantage of her.
And considering we pretty much all know that by now, I just don't think there's any point treating feminism as a separate thing. I thought that was the opposite of what we were trying to do. Once we start treating this as a separate thing, we can single out the sexist people and try and change their mindsets.
Good luck. Most of the sexist people you're talking about, well, they're part of the very group you belong to.
And I know that the chances of that happening are very slim, but hey, it's worth trying, right? To summarize, I don't think that the term feminism should be used anymore. If you're a feminist, you're normal. And if you're not, you're not.
Fun thing about normal, it tends to go and vary depending on place and time. For example, in the Middle East, it is considered normal to attack and even kill people who are homosexuals. Here in the US, it is considered normal to attack and even kill people who says anything bad about the people who are attacking and killing people for their sexual orientation. No, seriously, stop and think about it for a second. You go and tell me about, well, this is normal. What's normal is we got a bunch of Muslims and refugees coming over to different countries, not just the US, German, Sweden, the list goes on. The point is, they go and rape women and children alike. And not only that there, but the police won't do anything because, hey, that's racism. Why should you go and report somebody molesting an 8-year-old kid when they're Muslim? They're Muslims. They don't know any better. They're practically animals. And besides which, you're basically forcing your culture on them. So, if it's okay for them to go and rape whoever they want, then why can't they do it in your country for? No, stop and think. This is like someone from India coming to the US and they bring their slaves with them. Okay? They're like, well, in my country, it's okay to have slaves. Don't you dare go and push your religion on me, motherfucker, or I go and take you to my country and make you a slave. Seriously, do not sit and talk about normal. Just because something is normal doesn't make it right. And here's the worst part. Feminists, they don't care about these people that are going around raping women and children. We have a real rape epidemic going on, okay? The feminists are dead silent about it because, oh no, intersectionality. You can't make this stuff up. The very people you are defending don't care about protecting women. They do not care about protecting women who are at risk of getting raped. Third wave feminism has never been interested in women. All it's been interested in is trying to go and help protect the middle to upper echelons of society, and that's it. The people who already have it good. If you're poor and downtrodden, fuck you. We don't care. You are not their audience. And you, sir, as a male feminist, are definitely not their audience. You're a useful tool at best. That's all you are to a feminist. Feminism is nothing more than just another hate group. That's all it's been since at least the third wave. First and second, yes, they had a point in being. I can understand that. But here's the thing of it. Just because it started out good, somewhere along the line, they just completely lost it. the entire, ooh, men are bad, men are bad, men are bad. Oh, Karl Marx, oh, how we worship you. Karl Marx's teachings is taught in every women's studies course. I am not making this up. And the thing of it is, you go and start to go and research this stuff, and you go and realize they just simply took what Karl Marx said and just scratched out the bit about the workers and everything else and replaced it with man and woman. That's all they really did. Seriously, learn what you're getting yourself into. Not only that but we already got apartheids cropping up and all in universities where black students don't want to be with white students, and they're being instructed, they're being taught by white educators on how they're being victimized. Explain this shit to me, please, because none of it's making sense.
Anyway, thank you guys very much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Kinda. Obviously, I really want to hear your guys' outlooks on this. I know there are going to be a ton load of people who disagree with me, and that's kind of understandable, I guess.
Let me put it like this. Just because you believe that your movement is the one true religion doesn't necessarily make it so. There is a difference between saying, hey, guess what? I'm a Scientologist now. There's a difference between saying that and, oh, I'm a Scientologist now, and Scientology is the one true religion that everyone should be a part of. No, seriously, there is a difference. The minute you hit the everyone should be a part of it, no exceptions about it, fuck it, you're too far gone. I can't help you. You're beyond my help. To say you're a part of something, that's one thing. You're a part of it. It's not fully integrated in your life. There is a separation between you and what you believe. However, the minute you start saying, well, everyone should practice this belief, or everyone should be doing this, or whatever else, yeah, that's when you become nothing more than another talking head. And it's kind of like the old saying goes, follow the hand that goes up the puppet's ass. You're not really thinking. You're not really voicing your own opinion. You're voicing what you're told is correct. You're voicing what someone else is feeding you. You yourself are just a talking head. That's all you are. There's no brain inside of that box of yours. And so, like I said, I've said this before and time and again, I do not care what you believe. What you believe is irrelevant. What's important is that you are able to question it. The minute you are able... Look, I am a Christian. I'll be honest with you. This is my personal theological belief. However, I question Christianity because, gee, I don't know. Maybe because I tend to learn more by questioning it than if I blindly followed along. No, think about it. You're going to go and endorse an ideology, and then you're going to attack people who question it. Why? Why would you do this? Do not dare question what I believe. Or do not question what you believe. This makes no sense at all. If I am going to go and give you something to drink, would you not want to know what it is you are about to ingest? If what I am handing you is poison, you definitely would like to know in advance. But this is the problem. Do not ask questions. Just listen and believe. That's the feminist's bottom line. Just listen and believe. If a woman says something, it's true. Why? Vagina. That's why. She has a vagina. So it must be true because women don't lie. Don't look at me. I'm not the one making this shit up.
I understand that my mindset on this is incredibly different to what most people think about feminism, and I just really want to hear your guys' outlooks on this in the comments, what you guys think about feminism, if you are a feminist, and if you're not a feminist, why aren't you?
Well, you already have my answer in this video, 30-some minutes and counting, so since this video's already long enough, later. Hope I was able to answer a few questions, and if not, well, all I can say is the oldest con in history is to go and take someone who means well and then just milk them for all they're worth. Yes, I can understand you want to do good. And the feminists know this. And because you want to do good, the idea that you should question things or better understand what you're getting yourself into never going to occur to you. In fact, if it does occur to you, the feminists are going to go and attack your ass and treat you like basically any other person who has questioned them ever. Take a look at what happened to Karen Strong. She is a woman's men's rights activist. Yeah, the MRA also includes women. Who knew?